The yellow cab pulled up to the curb just as Mom and I stepped out of the terminal. The driver jumped out, loading our heavy luggage into the trunk, and then within minutes, the airport was behind us. The street lamps accelerated into a dizzying blur against the dark Oregon sky. Both of us were utterly exhausted from flight, but myself especially. The magic mushrooms were fully kicking in now, turning the passing headlights into bleeding streaks of neon color. We finally pulled into a grand sweeping driveway. A pristine roundabout sat in front of the hotel entrance, centered around the stone statue and a cascading water fountain. Underwater lights illuminated the fountain, shifting through pale hues of deep reds and soft greens. Upon entering the elegant lobby, the atmosphere felt heavy and sophisticated. We were greeted by the sharply dressed attendant behind the polished mahogany desk. After a few muted moments of exchanging confirmation details, we were handed our room keys. We headed down a long, brightly lit hallway adorned with elegant floral wallpaper and scenic landscape paintings. When I pushed open the heavy wooden door to our room, a wall of freezing air hit us. The air conditioner was cranked down to a biting 65 degrees, running at full blast, and the air smelled strongly of fresh linen. We dropped our bags, each claiming our own queen bed. Immediately marched over to the thermostat and cranked the heat up to 70 degrees, trying to stave off the chill. I quickly changed into some comfortable clothes while my mom locked herself in the bathroom to freshen up. The moment she closed the door, I moved fast. Rummaging through my backpack, my fingers frantically searched for something until they wrapped around a small plastic container. My secret stash of Xanax. I popped the pills in my mouth, swallowing them dry, not even bothering to wash them down with a drink. Collapsing onto the mattress and burying my head into the plush pillows felt like absolute heaven. A long, contemplative sigh erupted from my chest as the benzos began to glide with the fading psychedelics, forcing my hypervigilant body to finally relax into a deep, dreamless void. It didn't feel like any time had passed before morning sun began peeking through the heavy curtains. My mom was shaking my shoulder, pulling me back to reality. Opening my eyes slowly, I yawned and stretched my aching limbs, planting my bare feet onto the cold floor. Mom turned on the television, and a low murmur of the morning news filled the room. She sat on the edge of the bed, giving her undivided attention to the weather report before clicking it off.
Do you want to head down to the lobby for breakfast?
She asked. Without waiting for a reply, assuming I'd be right behind her, she grabbed her purse and left me alone in the room. I dragged myself to the bathroom, turning the dial. Soon the steady rhythmic beads of hot shower were trickling down my pale skin. As the steam began to rise, dark thoughts emerged from my subconscious mind. I couldn't stop thinking about my brother. I couldn't stop wondering what he would be doing right now if he were alive. I closed my eyes. I could still see his face, tan, handsome, and full of life that I lacked. I could picture his black hair waving through the wind as he turned around to face me, flashing that effortless smile. Ever since that freak accident, I hadn't been able to overcome the constant, suffocating feeling of dread. He was only 16. He was making a turn on the yellow light when his brakes completely failed. Some idiot in an oncoming lane wasn't paying attention and T-boned him at full force. The impact killed him instantly. It was during his funeral I missed the crushing grief that I met Alma, my current girlfriend. She was the one who told me that even though he wasn't around anymore, he had left behind a few things, a few coping mechanisms, things that could be used as a pick-me-up whenever I needed a fix to get through the day. I closed my eyes tightly under the stream, letting the warm water rush over my face. I inhaled deeply, but the rich, heavy steam shouted around my naked body suddenly felt suffocating. My heart began to race rapidly. It pounded violently against my ribs like a frail primate beating against an iron bar enclosure. I looked down at my left hand, which was holding a bar of soap. For some terrifying reason, my brain couldn't command my fingers to grip it. My whole left arm began to violently tremble. The soap slipped from my numb fingers and clattered into the tub. The entire shower began to spin. A swirling, sickening vertigo washed over me, leaving me instantly nauseous. I doubled over, vomiting acidic stomach bile onto the tub floor. The burning liquid scalded my throat as my vision split, causing me to see double. Panicking, I reached for the safety handle of the tub wall, but my depth perception was gone, and I missed it entirely. My feet gave way underneath me. In one last desperate attempt to stay upright, I lunged outward and caught the shower curtain. The plastic screamed as it ripped entirely off the metal bar. My face slammed hard against the wet porcelain bowl of the tub, and the world went completely black. My opiate withdrawals had claimed me once again.